had the rare distinction of being an All-Pro in 2 leagues, the short-lived USFL and, of course, the National Football League, where he set almost every team passing record while leading the Buffalo Bills to an unprecedented 4 consecutive Super Bowls from 1991 to 1994. Folks, he was known for being a quarterback with a linebacker's mentality, and that held true when he faced enormous challenges after his career ended. He's been defined by one word, and that is tough. My pleasure to welcome to the set Mr. Jim Kelly. You can clap. Absolutely, absolutely. And there's no question you've been that way, but the first question most people would want to know, how are you doing? And talk about where that toughness came from, if it's a family trait, your upbringing.
Well, number one, I'm doing better. I have my next MRI in a couple weeks, which I have to have, quarterly because of where my cancer was, but feeling pretty good, which is good. The toughness, probably growing up in a huge family. I remember, I don't remember, but I've been told this, that when my parents were married, they wanted to have a large family. And they started out with son named Pat, son named Ed, son named Ray. My dad, being a steel worker and a machinist, he said, 3 boys, no more, that's all good. And my mother talked him into trying her one more time. They had me. So that's number 4. And of course, Dad wanted to stop at 4, but my mother, being a stubborn, feisty Irish woman, she goes, oh no, we're gonna give her one more try for a girl. They had twin boys.
Twin boys after that.
So now it's 6, but to be honest with you, growing up in the family that I did, we all wanted to be good enough to take care of Mom and Dad. And I remember many times in the backyard, the tackle man with the ball, all the competition when we played basketball, the boxing out and everything we did, but we all loved football. I was blessed to have 5 brothers that never once were jealous of me. As a matter of fact, I'm probably here today because of my brothers. The work ethic that they instilled in me tell me that you're good, but if you want to make it to the next level, you got to work harder than the next guy and almost have that mentality like our father had. And my father's work ethic was unmatched. His hands were like sandpaper. But you know what? I look at it and I look at the mother that we had and the father, and it's how I was brought up, to never give up on anything. That we all will face tough times in our life, but it's the attitude that you have of never giving up and persevering.
You know what? Your story is not atypical in terms of everybody wanting to do well for their parents, particularly their mother. Whether it's an African-American guy from a single-parent household, white with 2 parents in the whole 9 yards. What was it about Mom setting the example? You paid Dad his props, but what was it about Mom?
I could go on and on about my mother. I mean, she was an amazing woman. She worked in the cafeteria at our high school. And when we played football, there's a lot of families that their kids would show up at game time and their uniforms weren't washed. And my mother all of a sudden started washing 2 or 3 other players' uniforms. And she already had her, 6 boys. She was a tough, tough woman. And there's not a day that goes by that I don't think about my parents.
So when did you realize that you were special come football?
Me personally, all from day one.
Out the chute, right?
No, to be honest with you, having the brothers that I have pretty much always kept my psyche, I guess not to get too cocky, confident, yes, but I was blessed to have great people around me. Not only my brothers, but my high school football coach. He knew, I don't know why, but he knew that I had something special. But the way he would talk to me, saying, you could do this. You could go on to the next level, but your work ethic's got to pick up. You got to start doing this. You got to start worrying about this and not that. For him, I always listened to him. So I did the extra what it took to be able to be good. And then, to be honest with you, now here I am, was this 2017. I've taken my high school football coach, my 5 brothers, to 30 Super Bowls in a row. This will be the first one that they missed because they didn't want to go to Minnesota.
Understood. Like that. So you had a shoulder injury in high school as well, too. What did that teach you about overcoming challenges and persevering?
Well, injuries have been a part of my life, but I've always bounced back, which was good. And then my senior year, I was up for the Heisman Trophy with Dan Marino, Herschel Walker, John Elway, and here I'm part of that group. And I think it was 3rd or 4th game of the season, I blew out my right arm, and they told me I would never play football again. They inserted 3 metal rods into my arm, and here I am a senior with that dream of playing in the National Football League gone. And I was blessed because I had a couple of my brothers move down to Miami. They helped me, but more importantly was what my father said to me. He said, son, he said that, don't ever let somebody tell you can't do something. They told you will never play again, bull. He said, you're a Kelly toughness. We're gonna persevere through this, and we're gonna get through it. And I always thought of mom and dad and my brothers on why I persevered and kept working hard.
No heart bigger than that of Jim Kelly. We'll find out more about his story after this. Back here with Hall of Famer Jim Kelly here on the James Brown Show. And I mentioned in the intro USFL, then the NFL, which really speaks about the prodigious talent you had. But talk about the experience in the USFL and what that was like.
I loved it. Plus, when I was being recruited to go to USFL, I remember, to make a long story short, I was about ready to sign a contract with the Buffalo Bills. And I think it was Bruce Allen and another time Jerry Argovitz called the office and got me out of the meeting. And they said, you know what, don't sign anything. If he wants a chance to play in USFL, play for anybody you want. I went to Houston, and Jerry Argovitz was there, and I started, he wanted to play catch. I think he just wanted to see if my arm was good enough. I think I broke his finger, so he was convinced I could play. And I thought, a dome stadium, beautiful weather, or go to Buffalo. They're not playing very good, cold weather. So for me back then, right, it was a no-brainer. And of course, the money they gave me was a bit more. But to be honest with you, even though I loved the USFL, we ran the run and shoot offense. I had great receivers and threw for so many yards and touchdowns, and it was a blast. One of the best decisions I ever made in my life was becoming a Buffalo Bill, without a doubt.
Did say that, and I want to get right to that as well, too. But talk about some of the outstanding players who were in the USFL.
Reggie White, Flutie was there. There's a lot of great players, and they continue to get Heisman Trophy winner after Heisman Trophy winner. But unfortunately, in 1986, we tried to battle against the NFL, and I'm not going to say anything more than that.
We'll leave it right there. Understood. Why the best decision, you characterize that?
Because I know where I'm at now. I know that I met a beautiful girl named Jill, became my wife, and the Buffalo Bills back in the day with Ralph Wilson, he guaranteed me he would bring great players around me, and that my teammates that I had and have, and how close we are. And JB, I don't know whether, because we didn't win any of those Super Bowls, it brought us as a team closer together, because we knew if we were going to battle back, we were going to have to become a family.
When did you notice that there was an issue that had to be addressed?
Probably
You're the team leader.
Yeah, probably when I spoke out.
Okay.
And I probably started it all. And then I realized that somebody had to take that forefront. Somebody had to step forward and be able to bring us all together. So after every game, win or loss at home, I would have parties at my house. And that's when players get to know players better, but more importantly, families got to know families. Wives got to know wives. Moms and dads got to know moms and dads from the other players. And all of a sudden, we're all there after every game. And this is probably my last 5-6 years in the league. And that's when we really started understanding what we're all about, not just in the locker room and on the field. Now, what are you going to do when you're away from the football field? And I think for us, that's what brought us all so close together. And now we hang out all the time.
You know what, Jim, and so many people watch players and teams to take suggestions, if you will, for the game of life. And you're talking about this togetherness with some awesome talent you guys had there. Talk about the role that Marv Levy played with that talent.
I don't think we probably would have been so successful if we didn't have Marv as our coach. And the reason I say that is, as I said earlier about the egos we had on our team, we had a lot of egos, including myself. Bruce Smith, Thurman Thomas, you had guys like Nate Odom. Everybody had something to say, and everybody wanted to be heard. But Marv said, if you guys don't come together, if you don't start really understanding what the game is all about, that it's not about individualizing each and every one of you together, separate, you all need to come together. And there's no doubt that the key to all of our success is Marv Levy. He was a guy that at times he would speak over our head, But if he wanted us all to know what the meaning of it was, he'd just say, "Hey, Thurman, look that up for everybody and let everybody know what I meant." And when you talk about leadership, the number one thing is respect. We all respected him. He wasn't a rah-rah kick in the butt, but when he spoke, we listened.
You were the one who had to model that leadership on the football field. It comes with the territory, being a quarterback. We're going to talk more about that and how Jim showed the way through their unbelievable run. More with Jim Kelly after this. Hall of Fame Buffalo coach Marv Levy said of Jim Kelly on his Hall of Fame induction day, quote, "What a swashbuckling figure he cut as he led our team on drive after drive into our opponent's end zone. If they were to make a movie about the life of John Wayne, Jim Kelly ought to play the part." And there's no question about that. Hey, and certainly nothing defines toughness even more so than what you guys did when we talked about the unprecedented 4 Super Bowls. Just a thumbnail of each one of those as you recall it in your minds.
Well, Super Bowl 25, first Super Bowl ever. Excited for my family, and for me, it really came down to the last 2 minutes of the ball game. I remember as a little boy in my backyard growing up, wrote number 12 on my jersey because I was a Steeler fan, Bradshaw, and I was throwing past Lynn Swann and John Stallworth, and behind me was Franco Harris. And I'm standing on the sidelines with a little over 2 minutes to go in the game. It's Super Bowl 25, and I'm the quarterback. I'm like, oh my, I remember this. And then it was Franco and then were replaced by James Lofton and Andre Reed. So I was blessed. And we went down the field, and unfortunately, everybody knows what happened. We lost the game, or missed a field goal. But that is what really eats away at me. Not only that is not having the football very much. 19 total minutes we had in that game. And as I look at the other Super Bowl, Super Bowl 26 against the Redskins, I think we met a team right at the peak of the year. We pretty much got our butts whooped. And but the third year, the Cowboys playing in Pasadena, I didn't play very much in that game. I blew my knee out in the second quarter. So, but you're not going to win football games if you turn it over 9 times. And the Dallas Cowboys pretty much beat on us that game. But then the fourth one. Wow, it's hard because we were leading into halftime coming out, and it just one of those things that just wasn't meant to be. And at times it's hard to swallow, but for us, I think back in the green room, the guys that have played the game before, whether it's football, basketball, baseball, whether it's high school or pro, they get what we did, that doesn't happen. But the guys that say, oh, you know, a legend, no, they didn't win any Super Bowls. Look who's saying it. I guarantee you they never played football. Now, I guarantee you they probably didn't play sports.
Amen, because what you guys did was flat out unbelievable.
I will go to my grave saying I am proud that I played for the Buffalo Bills. But I want to see the younger generation get a feel for what it's like to play football games in January in Buffalo. The smell in the air, that cold, brisk wind, the steam coming out of your mouth, that gets me excited. As a matter of fact, I just got chills. I want that feeling back. But until Tom Brady retires, I don't know if that's ever going to happen.
We're going to ask him about Tom Brady and what he's been doing with the New England Patriots after this. More with Jim Kelly. Back here with the great Jim Kelly. First of all, Tom Brady, size up what this guy is doing.
Well, as we have heard, at least everybody else has, about his regimen of working out and what he eats. Nowadays, there's so many things that can help you prolong your career, but you have to be willing to buy into it.
What impresses you about him? Because, Jim, and this is with no disrespect, he's not a great athlete.
No.
But mentally and the attitude he takes into the game.
Oh, and there's no doubt. He's feisty. He wants to win. But being able to do it with so many different characters. I mean, there's receivers that come in and within 2 years they're gone, and somebody else comes in and he makes it work with everybody. But it's having the same system all the time, year after year after year. I don't know how he does it because I know how my body felt at the age of 37, and I knew it was time for me to hang up the cleats. But for him to do it that long, I admire what the guy's done. And you know what? I want to make sure I point this out too. Even I've told Buffalo Bill fans this, and sometimes they might not want to hear that, and probably a lot of people here. He's one of the classiest guys I know. No, one time when I'd asked Tom if he would sign a couple of helmets for my son's foundation or sign a couple for my Kelly for Kids Foundation, he'd say, pal, whatever you want, I'll send it. I'll sign whatever you have. Not everybody does that, but he doesn't say, send it to my agent, send it to my home. And I like Tom. I see him after every home game that the Bills play. Just a good dude.
He is remarkable. Peyton Manning has often reached out to you as well, too.
Yeah, I've known Peyton for a while. I've known his dad for a long time. I remember after Peyton lost the Super Bowl, he texts me and he says, how did you do it? What do we need to do? And, of course, down the road, I talked to him more in detail, but I did get a hold of him. And the thing is, it's not always what you, as a player, because you know being a quarterback, you're going to go through tough times. You're going to throw interceptions, but it's your mental approach to the game to be able to block that out, move on. But it's how you are with your teammates. For us, when we lost 2 and then the 3 Super Bowls in a row, the negativity that you hear from certain people out there can wear on you. I wasn't 100% sure. I had a feeling that they were going to handle it the right way, but boy, they handled it the right way.
Kelly once told a reporter in Buffalo, quote, I'm a down-to-earth guy. I'm a guy who knows his roots. I'll always remember where I've been. I'll remember the tough times. Jim, in this closing segment here, as you look back on, I've often said it in every show, the journey you've taken, what have you applied in the game of life? What means the most to you now?
Well, it's interesting because after all the things, my life I've been through with, blowing my shoulder out and then 4 Super Bowls and then having a son born on my birthday and then going to the Hall of Fame and then him passing away and then neck surgery, back surgery, and then 2 bouts of cancer. A journey of perseverance. It's what I was told at an early age by my dad, that we're all going to go through tough times in our life, whether it's in school, whether it's in life, whether it's on the football field, the basketball court. It's what you do about it's what counts. Don't feel sorry for yourself. How are you going to persevere? How are you going to get through it? How are you going to make it better, not only for yourself, but the people around you? And as I continue to grow, there are times, James, when I looked up and I said, Lord, I know I've done screwed up a few times in my life, but really going through all this, but I do understand right now on this stage as I sit here today, that the good Lord put me in the position I'm at right now is to make a difference for others. And if you would have said this to me 10, 15 years ago, I might not have got it, but I get it now because I understand that the things that I've went through with, I talked about my son, which to me was the hardest time of my life, not only for me as a father, but me as a husband too.
And I think we all get it as well. Let me close with this. You mentioned one of your daughters getting married. You like your future son-in-law?
Love him. Except?
You
throw an except in there.
Except?
He's a baseball player.
And that means?
He's 6'6", 255, and when I tell people he's a pitcher, the first thing that come out of their mouth is he right-handed or left-handed? Well, he's right-handed, but he was drafted by the Milwaukee Brewers. He throws a 97-mile-an-hour fastball. His name's Parker Bean. I'm excited. Great kid. And as we know, when you have kids, especially daughters, you pray to God that the person they fall in love with will be somebody that you like.
When my daughter got married, I did shake my son-in-law's hand. I tried to break every bone in his hand to let him know she's still my baby.
I like it.
And you've got a pretty good grip.
Boom. Hey, boom.
Jim Kelly
boom.
has been our guest, folks. Thank you so very much. Tune in next week to another edition of The James Brown Show. Jim Kelly, everybody.